모든 건 변했다. 히트 시즌 2.
Ever surprised?
Yeah.
I'm usually impressed, but like, you know, if INnoVation like even takes out Zest, I'm like, yeah, okay, yeah.
Yeah,
Well,
I mean, like,
he's very good. Sure.
On some given day, you know, he does a cool build, he takes the win for sure. The only problem for INnoVation is that he's 0-3 versus Protoss. When he doesn't play against Protoss, he's 7-1. But when he does play against Protoss, he's 0-3. So, kind of interesting. A very split vote here. Actually, 3 members of the casting group here are actually going for Deer, whereas the rest of us going for INnoVation.
In the casting, 2 Archons and a War Prism, as I like to call it, us 4 spellcasters here. All right, guys, this is game number 4, INnoVation versus Deer. All right, let's go. In the bottom right, in the orange, it's INnoVation. In the upper left, in the blue, Deer.
And this is going to be played on King Sedong Station.
That's right.
Fantastic map. We always talk about it. And should be a very fun PvT for sure. Both these players, some of the highest caliber players that we have over here in Korea.
I gotta tell you, man, I was so on the fence on who to predict for this one.
Oh, yeah.
I was like really, because I'm actually one of the guys that almost always votes for Deer. Like to a fault.
Yeah, I mean,
like I've dropped my percentage in our predictions by a lot, because there's a lot of moments where I'm like, no way, man, Deer's got this, because I love his
it's like Deer versus Zest. You're like, no, it's Deer 100%.
It's Deer.
You guys don't get it.
No, I think actually that was the one time I didn't pick Deer, and then Deer beat Zest, and I'm like,
Yeah,
all right, that's it. I'm like,
like
that's
that,
it.
yeah.
Then I picked him for like the next like month, and I like lost like 60% of those.
I have a, yeah, I understand what you're saying. I have a weird relationship with predictions for Deer, because last year, whenever I predicted him to win, he would lose. In these weird games, he was so inconsistent last year. He was so favored against Flash one day, I remember, and I was like, oh, Deer's got this 100%. And he just drops the ball, he makes like 100 mistakes, and I'm like, what is going on?
Oh my God.
And then it was the opposite. You know, when I wouldn't vote for him, he would win and play fantastically.
What is that SCV doing? What?
Oh, what
dun,
is happening?
Look at these sneaky Terrans today.
The fact that we see this twice.
This is so totally not like INnoVation, by the way.
Yeah. INnoVation is the guy that's going to play straight up macro, and he's going to outplay you, out multitask you, out macro you. This isn't INnoVation. You're exactly
INnoVation's
right.
playing like Tasteless. Now, when you play like Tasteless, you usually lose, so that's something important to keep in mind. But let's see what he does this time around here. This is very interesting. This looks like it's a tailored build for this, very specific game.
Yeah, the fact that we see this twice, in fact, means a lot. Maybe just recently this is a very popular build to do in general. Like maybe players have just figured out that you can get away with this and do a lot of damage, and it's very hard for the Protoss to deal with.
This is actually, okay, so I want to talk about factory floats. This is actually something, this is funny, because factory floats were really popular like right at the start of like vanilla Starcraft, okay? And then eventually people were just like, okay, I gotta check my main. And then you check your main, and then it's like, okay, get your factory back in its base, and I'll beat you in 5 minutes. But because in Legacy people can expand so fast, I don't think this is almost like it's now going to re-enter into the meta. Guys, start queuing up your ladder games. Start dropping the factories.
Do it right now.
These are free ladder points here against Protoss, guys. Oh, look at this. Oh, wait, I want to see Deer's face.
People just don't do this, like you're saying. People don't do this. No one expects this.
Oh boy.
Well, nice splits here. But he is going to deny a lot of mining.
This is happening. Now, I would have kept making the Widow mine. I would have made a second one. I'm actually kind of surprised he didn't. You know what I'm saying?
This is
there's
you know what? I'm okay with this, because I'm beginning to understand this a little bit more, because when you're going bio and you're going against Protoss, you're not going to be using that factory for anything outside of this, right? So it's a cool idea. You need to build the factory anyway, so you might as well use it for some extra damage, like a weird thing like this, and you're going to need it for your starports anyway.
But you wouldn't have gotten a second Widowmine there? I think no matter what, the factory gets away.
You know what?
That's what I was
definitely go for the second Widowmine for sure. Maybe he just didn't want to commit to it, and he wanted to make sure it lived. But the Protoss at this point really isn't going to have much to kill a factory. Like it's a really sturdy building in general, so... Yeah, I agree. You know, maybe he could have gone for the second Widowmine there for sure.
Okay, so the Oracle's coming up now. Now let's see if he can get some kills of his own here.
It actually doesn't have enough energy. Okay,
that's
there
true.
he goes.
Excuse me. All right.
Now he does, but it's kind of too late.
It's like fantastic Liberator micro, actually.
Yeah.
Driving that Oracle out of there. So, Protoss, while this was all going on, he did take a third base, which I thought was pretty smart because that's certainly something that a Widowmine can't stop. And of course, when you see them doing that, I mean, that's one way to just like take the situation and keep moving forward as Protoss and not be completely tripped up.
This is something that Zest does a lot, and the fact that we're playing on King Sejong Station means that that's probably the safest third base you're going to have on compared to any other map, right? So it's a really cool idea, like you said. Because he went for that weird factory float, he's like, oh, he's not going to have any aggression coming for a while, and I can just get away with this. And it's also unscouted. Let me actually check 100%. Yeah, it's totally unscouted, so he has no idea when that third base was made. And in fact, INnoVation is just sticking on 2 bases and not getting his own third base here.
Yeah, let's see if INnoVation actually follows this up with a push. Protoss can, in this state of StarCraft 2, it seems like they can kind of always get 3 bases, right? We don't really have a lot of games where it's like denied. I mean, Zerg were doing it for a little bit, but I think Protoss has just kind of figured that out. By the way, INnoVation really hyper vigilant with this Liberator here. Now the 4 Phoenixes are going to come out here. They may try to assassinate the Liberator, and then from there probably try to get some kills off on the SCVs. But it seems like, yeah, Deer is going to go for, at least so far from what we're seeing, that Adept Phoenix style of play.
Yeah, for now, I wouldn't be surprised if he adds a bunch more gates here and just goes that kind of Zest style, the Protoss style. We see a lot nowadays where you go up to 8 gates and you just make a bunch of stuff with Blink and Glaives, and it really works out. But let's see if he does want to commit to that.
Now, let's see where these... oh, wow, okay, he's actually going to just unload and slow push up north, which is totally fine.
Yeah.
It really shows how conservative INnoVation is.
Also, the fact that it did get tagged here, all these units, so he's like, oh, okay, I can't really get away with this. He's going to snipe my medevacs if I keep him in here, so he has to know at this point that the Protoss is going to have the third base. He doesn't know exactly how early he got it, but it's a nice little push to put on some pressure, force the Protoss to react.
Okay, so the Marines are coming up over here. I'm really curious about INnoVation doing this while they're still tagged. I understand him coming up there and trying to take control of some of the watchtowers, but to go all the way to the top seems a little bit risky.
Look at the 4 pylons and all the adepts.
Yeah.
The mothership core.
Nicely done. Kills that Oracle.
But as you said, INnoVation is generally very careful with how he pushes. He's never going to overcommit.
Hold up, bro. I think we got a drop over here in the main. This is actually a great spot to drop up here. The Phoenixes are not here in time. We got some warp-ins. Looks like he wants to go for this pylon over here. And he's going to have to be very careful to not let the... Okay, good. Takes out some of those adepts of those Widowmines. Now,
at the same time, he should be pushing into that third base, and that he will. He doesn't pick this up early enough, and the Mothership Core is going to stop that.
Honestly, pretty easy defense there for Deer. And that was those 4 pylons. I wonder if INnoVation should have actually just backed up and not dropped at all, because I don't think that was a trade that was necessarily favorable for INnoVation.
Yeah, I would have to agree with you. Maybe just overcommitting slightly there, and his third base is going to be so late. It even got delayed by 1 adept, so that also is not a good feeling. He has to start remaking that again, and his Widowmines are still alive, but they will be picked up.
Okay, War Prism headed down now. Now, INnoVation might have a very solid push over here. With the 3 Liberators, this is actually a pretty big threat. Now, these Phoenixes are not at full HP, and there's not quite enough Adepts here to tank this at times. So he guns down a couple of those. There's still 3 Liberators over here, and these Adepts, they may shade right on top of the Liberation zones.
They go in there, and there's not enough Phoenixes to take out the Liberators.
Yeah, they're just not dying. Oh my God!
He doesn't focus it down. He doesn't focus down one Liberator.
That actually might be game. That might just do it.
Oh man!
Because there's no anti-air, and that means the Liberators cannot be contested here.
Unbelievable.
Crazy, man.
And this was such a smart idea because he knew that Deer was going to be protecting that third base and that the units were going to be out of position.
Yeah. He guns down the mothership core. More Liberators are coming up. Here's landed mules.
Four mules, not just mules. 4 mules.
Wow. There it is. GG.
There you have it. INnoVation going to get the 3-1
like I
for
said,
his team.
You can never really be surprised when INnoVation wins. Like,
yeah,
he's
I'm not surprised.
He's not minor. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
I'm like, all about Zest and, some of these other players. I'm more hyped about those guys, maybe just because I'm so used to INnoVation doing it. But at any point in time, INnoVation can absolutely take a game off of anybody.
For sure. And Deer is kind of confused at this point.
By the way, guys, that match we saw that was the most important match of the entire series because Deer is the one player who has to win and who's most likely to win versus almost any player. So
he's the ace player.
Yeah, and that was really good play there. He got those Liberators set up. They were all taking damage, but they weren't being killed off. And any few seconds that a Liberator stays alive for longer is so much more damage on the ground. And what the Achilles heel of the Phoenix adept style of play is if you can actually get the Phoenix count low enough, then they can't contest the push on the ground.
And that's exactly what happens. The micro was not there for Deer, too. You saw he flew his Phoenixes in first, and they flew over all the Marines before there was enough Adept support. So he lost 2 of his Phoenixes. Then he tried to fly in behind, and he didn't focus down one Liberator. He got them all 3 of them were in the red, but none of them died. And then he shaded in with his Adepts and lost all of them into the Liberation zones because he was just like desperately trying to hold it. It was just all over the place,
man.
Yeah.
Well, that was a really fun set of games we had today, guys. Definitely, actually, I would check out all of these games that we had. Dark versus Solar was kind of a basic bro game, but the rest of the games were actually quite good. I enjoyed them a lot.
Especially that third set went pretty crazy.
Oh, yeah. Well, I mean, if you had to recommend just one game to a friend, definitely check out Classic versus Reality because those guys are doing some crazy stuff.
Yeah.
I believe we're going to be going to the Ace match interview, and I actually don't know who the Ace is going to be.
Yeah, it's kind of
I think
rough to call. Maybe INnoVation.
Maybe, I think you might be right, Valdez.
Taking out Deer,
Yeah.
or Classic because his game was pretty crazy and it was very